Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here today. Well, today, of course, we know from the breaking news from yesterday that Prince Andrew has lost his title, and he's also having to move out of Royal Lodge, of course. And it looks like this really has been a warning shot for Harry and Meghan. And I'm just going to give you a little bit of insight in how I see this and how what has happened to Andrew is a precursor. It is a precedent to what is going to happen to Harry and Meghan. And they are scared. They have been warned. And now it's time to shape up because you next. Let's get into it. What is the story, folks? What is the story? We know that Andrew, the brother of the king, has been kicked to the curb. Yeah, his brother said, get going, skedaddle, because you done lost your title. But we know that the king has never been one to be aggressive in his stance. But William has always been that backbone in the background, wanting to yield the power, which he has from his inevitable time on the throne to come as the next king. And I believe with everything that has happened with Meghan along the way, we know things with Andrew have gotten bad. They thought it was going to go away. They're saying that it was William who had even had these emails released that show that Andrew and Fergie were emailing with Epstein after they had said they had nothing to do with him. Because think about that. Where did these emails come from? Why is it that they just come out now when they could have come out a while ago? But there's always a plan. There's always something that they have as their arsenal, so to speak. And they use it to make a move when they're ready to make a move. And so with Andrew and the things that he even did at Duchess of Kent's funeral, trying to cozy up to William in front of the cameras, Fergie and Andrew really trying to be there still amongst the regular senior royals, despite what they have done with their connection and closeness towards a pedophile, a convicted pedophile, giving the royal family a bad name. That is essentially what Andrew and Fergie have done. They have besmirched the name of the royal family with something pretty egregious and a pedophile. But this has been going on for years. So you have to ask yourself this question: why now? Andrew did that interview about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein a few years ago, where he talked about not having regrets of meeting Jeffrey Epstein. So why now? You have to ask yourself. Yeah. Well, I think because these emails got released, because William is not happy with his father dragging his foot along, not getting things done. William was tired of the indecisiveness of the king. And then they see what's happening with Meghan and her branding, using her title for commercial deals, clearly going against the things of the late queen. This was very intentional to show this before, to have Andrew lose his title before it would happen to Harry and Meghan for the things they have been doing, which is very much aligned with what Andrew has done, besmirching the name of the royal family, giving them a bad name. Now, while I think trying to say someone who is giving a bad name aligned with pedophilia and then giving a bad name by calling the royal family racist, okay, the pedophilia one is bad. I would say that's the number one. That's at the top of the list. But closely behind that is the racism claims in which Harry and Meghan won an award for. We can't forget they won an award for the racism that they called out against the royal family, the institution of the monarchy, during their Netflix documentary. So they got an award for it. So they themselves as well have besmirched the name of the royal family. So much so, William came out and said, when was asked the question, is the royal family a racist family? And, William had to come kind of just break mold and like, hey, look, we're very much not a racist family, and he was like, he kept it moving. Like he had to say something. Okay, so you got this with Andrew and you got following close behind Harry and Meghan. Okay, and now there's a precedent that Harry can now be stripped, just like now Andrew Mountbatten Windsor has been stripped of his prince title and his dukedom. So they're very scared because Meghan has built a brand around this title. And what Meghan has done, and for the life of me, I do not understand why people feel like they need to support this woman who has talked horribly about the royal family, made little snide remarks at the royal family, even most recently during some of her most recent interviews. When she talked about, having to wear stockings and having to, not be able to tell the truth around things and, having to have time to recover and heal from her time in the royal family. Like, these are really small little jabs at the royal family. Come on now. And we see Harry try to say that there's no racism with his family, like try to backtrack it all. But Meghan's not backtracking nothing. As a matter of fact, she's still making jabs at the royals. So we see she has no remorse. So this is how you know they're going to be next. Okay? Because I can see it very clearly what sent William over the edge about what Andrew said about Princess Catherine. Fueled what they had in plan to do. It was expedited. Andrew made a rude comment about Princess Catherine that sent William over the edge. So this was in the book entitled by Andrew Lowney, which I'm going to have live on my channel on November 13th. We're going to be able to ask Andrew Lowney questions about his book. But this is what was in his book. And he claimed that a source told him that Andrew and William had not been on good terms for some time. Source said that tensions between the uncle and nephew began when Andrew first started tarnishing the reputation of the monarchy. The Duke denied any wrongdoing and rejected these allegations that were made against him by Virginia Giuffre. The relationship between the two men is then believed to have worsened when Andrew, the former Duke of York, said something very disrespectful about Catherine. Although we don't know exactly what it was that he said, it was something that infuriated William. He just went over the top. Because you know what? Who wouldn't go over the top with someone making a nasty comment about Princess Catherine? I mean, I never met the woman, and I'm going to be offended if you say something nasty about the girl, because look, she hasn't done nothing wrong. I mean, she does her job, her work as a mother and her charities, and she's dealing with a serious health issue. So who in the world is going to make a nasty, negative comment about Catherine? You're just a nasty person if you're going to pick on someone like Catherine. And it was when William did this that put a really bad dent in the relationship between Andrew and William. And they were also saying that William was very upset with how Andrew tried to engage with him at the Duchess of Kent's funeral. He felt like he was ambushed. And there were talks about where you're going to stand, where you are going to be. Like, Andrew just did not care. He did not care about anything. And I think this is also something that sent William over the edge. He just saw that Andrew was going to bypass the line. He was going to do what he wanted to do because he is an arrogant, entitled, spoiled man-child. And William has had enough. And he was the reason that this title was stripped of Andrew. I believe the king did not really want to do it, but this is why the king and William had been kind of had tensions going on because William was saying that the king was not doing things forceful enough. It was kind of like a little sleight of hand. Like, okay, let's make it look like I've done something. And then he got heckled, and it's just you have to do the difficult things when you are in such a position of leadership. So let's just not get it twisted. What has happened to Andrew Mountbatten Windsor was definitely a warning shot to Harry and Meghan. So a royal commentator has suggested that the king's decision regarding Andrew's royal titles could be a warning shot for what the future holds for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Harry and Meghan sensationally quit, we know, back in 2020. But they still retain their titles despite agreeing not to use them for commercial gain. And we see Meghan doing that. And it came out that if you are no longer working for the crown, you're not going to be able to have a title if you're not a working royal. So I think this is a clear pathway for King William when he does take the throne to have a legitimate reason to strip Harry and Meghan of their titles, just like King Charles did it for his brother Andrew. It is going to happen. Harry and Meghan are going to have their titles stripped as soon as William takes the throne. And I think, along with what Maureen Callahan has said, is that the stripping of Andrew's title, it made a pathway, a clear pathway for Harry and Meghan to now have their titles stripped, to have more consequences, because the king has now shown the world how to do it and that he's done it. So that will give William the easy access to now go and do exactly what his father did before him. So William is going to set the record straight. William is going to make a clear pathway for stripping of those titles. He's going to wield his power, his wand of being on the throne. And he's like, okay, titles be gone. Titles be gone. And that's what he's going to do. Very easy, very simple, and very nice, as my 5th grade teacher would always say. Yeah, and that's how you do it. If William can have convinced the infamously conflict-adverse Charles to renounce his own brother, well, Harry's days as Prince and Duke of Sussex are surely numbered. As for Meghan, like Fergie, she would just be collateral damage, an afterthought. Get ready, Meghan, to start selling your items at a discount. Because the discount prices are coming, folks. This girl has no chance of ever selling her products to find herself the next millionaire, billionaire, whatever. It's not going to yield her what she wants. So what good is Harry good for? So we have to wait and see the next steps of this couple. Because I think Meghan knows Harry is no longer the man that could give her the collateral that she needs, because Harry's days are numbered. And as soon as Harry is stripped of his title, that leaves Meghan Fergie, Sarah Ferguson 2.0. That's what Meghan is going to be. She's going to be the 2.0 version of a Sarah Ferguson, honey. Let me tell you right now, that is what's coming for Miss Meghan Markle, for all the things that she has done. So we're here for it. We're here to watch William yield his power once he becomes on the throne, because he is going to do it. And I'm here for it. I'm here to watch Meghan learn from the errors of her ways. Oh, yes. I bet Harry's not looking too good to Meghan Markle about right now. She's like, you're going to have your title taken. You no good to me now. I bet that's what she's thinking. We'll have to wait and see. All right, everyone. I shall see you all in my next video. Cheerio.